Da, 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 da. Welcome, shoujo listeners. We are here at another series finale. Exciting stuff. I'm your host, Sarah. Other guy, that's Joe. Joe for shoujo. Important.
Hey, we're here at the end of another show.
Yes. We'll have not that much to say, but a lot to say at once. On this.
Yeah, these episodes again. It's never been clearer that this show was not supposed to get canceled, that it was supposed to keep going than these two episodes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. For sure. But before we dive in, to all that,
we'll talk about the series overall. I have thoughts about that. This is not going to be a short episode.
No, it's not. All right. Okay. Well, let's get our little catch up out of the way. It's only been a couple days for us, so I can't say that anything different is for me. Still just playing Dragon Age a lot. My romantic interest, Lucanus, is definitely like swoon worthy, and every time there's a scene, I'm like, oh, he's so handsome, and so that's what I've been doing. How about you, Joe? Hopefully you've been doing something more interesting.
Yeah. So we're recording a little bit earlier this week because my parents are going to come and visit me. So they're going to be hanging out with me this weekend. So I can't record during a normal time. But in the meantime, since we recorded last, I have beaten a couple of video games. I finally beat Withering Rooms, which I had been playing for approximately forever. There were a lot of bonus stuff or side objectives that I got around to doing. And it was really fun. I had a really good time with that game. A lot of unfortunate deaths that made me start over, which caused me to extend the playtime quite a bit. But overall, I think it's really fun. So I had a good time with Withering Rooms. I also beat during my Gears of War playthrough, I beat Gears of War 3. So I am all the way caught up. So I only have new things now. So I only have the new Gears of War games I never played next. So the nostalgia moment is over. I can now proceed onto better stuff or newer stuff. Who knows if it's better? It might not be. So I feel accomplished. I always feel accomplished. I have a big spreadsheet of when I beat video games.
Yes.
I don't know if I've shared this with you before.
Yeah, in high school or college or something. So it's been around for a while.
Yes, I still have it. So, Gears of War 3 was a replay that doesn't count, but Withering Rooms was my 356th game beaten. So,
dang.
Pretty good. Almost 24 hours in that game.
Okay, nice. So, not approximately in it forever or whatever you said.
Yeah. Oh, that was 24 in-game hours.
Yeah, I know,
over
but
the course of a long time.
Clocked 50 hours in 4 days, so
that's true. Yeah, you have outdone me in a way that I cannot believe you were able to do that in such a short period of time. I can't even sit there and play a game for 4 hours without being I've been doing this too long. I need to take a break and go do something.
No, I don't feel that my Bayonetta poster fell down.
I'm
gonna have to fix that. I've never been dang, I should probably do something better for myself, take a walk or blah, blah, blah. So I'm if I want to play the game, nothing's stopping me. I have not matured in that aspect since I was a child, I guess. Games take priority above all else in life.
I see. I can't believe you could stick with it for so long.
Yeah, because I'm liking it a lot. Maybe you're not playing fun.
How many hours have you put in so far?
Let's see. So it's been, tomorrow will be a week since it's been out. 15?
Because in my spreadsheet, I keep count of if they have an in-game clock of how much time I spent.
Yeah.
Trying to see what you've compared, how it's rating against some of the other stuff I've played historically.
I've put 56 hours in.
56. That's more time I spent in Knights of the Old Republic, which was 41 hours. It's the closest one. It's less than the amount of time I put in Tales of Arise, which was 60. 56.
You don't play very long games, though. I guess we've kind of talked about this.
Those games are long. I played Slay the Spire for 58 hours. That's pretty long. I mean, most recently, my longest game, I think the longest game in this list is when I beat Fire Emblem Three Houses 3 times. So I ended up putting
you got all 3 of them.
168 hours in it. Yeah.
Damn. Wait. Oh, no, you're looking at your spreadsheet. I was like, that's on Steam? No. I just looked at them on Steam.
Yeah, I am looking at my spreadsheet, which is probably more time I should have that game probably deserved, to be honest.
Which game? Oh, Fire. Yeah. Well, what do you think of that? They basically set it up so there's 3 different versions of the game to buy. And if you bought one, you could digitally buy the other ones at a lower price, I think.
No.
No, they're all full price.
No, 3 Houses is one game. You buy one game.
Sorry, I am thinking of Birthright and Conquer or whatever. Yeah. Never mind. Yep. 2 games. I think it was just 2 games.
That one was way more gimmicky, and I was not a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
This was one game, and that's a great price for one game.
Sibling thing.
Yeah, a lot of incesty stuff going on there. That's an anime thing we haven't really touched on yet in this show, fortunately, but I feel like at some point we will be touching on that.
I could pick a series where we're touching on that. Definitely not shied away from.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about weird anime fetish tropes at some point, and I'm not looking forward to that, let me tell you.
But you guys are sure looking forward to our coverage of that.
Yeah. We will eventually be saying stuff about it. Mm-hmm. Mostly on the how are y'all able to stomach this? And the answer is you just get immune to it at a certain point. You're just like, yep, they're doing this again. Okay.
Yeah. Kind of like look past it for better things. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It turns out a lot of life is having to look past things that are bad.
Oh my gosh, Joe. Yeah, I didn't think to ask you before we start recording, but major things going on in the world today.
I just think we can ignore it. I just think we don't have to acknowledge it. This is we don't want to date ourselves. So
right. This is
I think we could just we simply do not see it.
That's how I simply do not for real.
See it. Yeah, I know. I don't know if that's great. But,
easy for me to live under a rock.
Yeah. So, obviously the thing we're referring to happened.
Yeah.
I would say that I guess I'll speak for me. In solidarity with people that, are going to, be more oppressed by certain outcomes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And not supportive of, people who want to do said oppressing. That's the most vague I'm going to be about that. I don't know why I'm even being vague at this point. There's kind of like no ambiguity in terms of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. This is the only time that I've been like, oh, damn. Like this, like at one point I was like, should I just because my tooth's tight? Major concern. So that's the most real it's felt for sure.
Yeah. Well.
But that's because I'm selfish and I'm like, oh, that affects me. But anyways, we'll move on.
So
okay, yes.
Yeah. And so
that's why this is the time where I'm like, oh, damn.
I'm sure in the years to come we may have more things to say about it, but right now it's one day out. So I think we're just gonna
There's a shred of hope somehow.
We're just gonna that's all we're gonna say about it.
Okay.
God.
Here.
Maybe we should go back to talking about incest tropes in anime. A nicer topic. But we're not going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about large age gaps because it comes up again in these episodes.
Yep. Won't stop. Can't stop.
Even less critically than the first time it came up.
Yes, by recipients. Yeah. Okay. So Skip Beat episode 24. Stage 24. Going into it? All right. Correction.
Let's do it. Yes. Okay. So Skip Beat time. Here we go. Skip Beat stage 24 is called The Permissible Encounter. We open on a depressed Ren who has somehow drank 2 bottles of scotch. He has been watching the old Dark Moon show and is thinking about how he's a failure and is just generally depressed on it. It's unclear if he has drank both of these bottles of scotch at the same time, because if he did, he'd be dead, because that's a lot of scotch.
He's a big guy.
I've looked up. What?
He's a big guy.
He is a big guy, but that's a lot of scotch. I did look up, because you get a close-up on the bottles, and I looked up the brands of scotch, and I have what they are and how expensive they are. The taller bottle is Leforiag. I don't know how to say this. It's like some Irish single malt whiskey. It's 10 years, and it cost $60. So a man buying some nice scotch. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
The other one is Chivas Regal, which is a 12-year scotch, and that costs for $30. So we're getting considerably cheaper, right? And the second bottle, it's your second bottle, so you don't have to get the nice
you've
stuff.
already had enough, so like it doesn't matter as much now that you're hammered.
Yeah, just go for it. Funny again to think that Ren is only 20. I mean, obviously the drinking age there is like
I know
or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, it was weird,
but it's just very funny to be like Ren Sarug, a 20-year-old, getting wasted on whiskey and scotch, just absolutely blasted.
That's what people do here too, just illegally.
I don't think they're drinking $60 scotch though.
Okay, no, unless they're raiding their parents.
That's true. The refined taste of an alcoholic celebrity. Anyway, we cut to a worried Yashiro. He's trying to call Ren, who doesn't show up to work. But he has to leave a message. We then cut to the Dark Moon shoot. Director Ogata tells Kyoko that he's got to move the production shoots around to adjust for Ren being gone. Kyoko gives us a flashback to the end of last episode where Ren freezes up. Apparently, Director Ogata asked Ren to leave the set for a while, and he hasn't been back since then. Ogata thinks he may have made a huge mistake by giving Ren a break like that, but Kyoko says that it's probably the right thing to do because there seems to be something wrong with him. Kyoko wonders if there's anything she can do for him, but isn't sure if she can even help. We jump to Sho Fua doing some recordings. He flirts with his manager, but she seems to escape. But she does think he's cute when he flirts with her, which is a wild thing for her to say or think. She thinks he's taking the whole, your ex is now a famous TV show star pretty well. Maybe too well, and we cut to a fantasy sequence where Sho imagines Ren and Kyoko being lovey-dovey. But then he is like, there's no way that would happen because Ren and Kyoko, he's a big shot and she's a nobody. So there's no way they would date. And then he thinks that when he's a big shot, he'll date the top girl in showbiz. But he can't get Kyoko out of his head. So he starts screaming from the other side of the door. It's all around an embarrassing sequence for him. That's basically the last we see of Sho.
Yeah. Good. Bye-bye.
Weird. Yeah.
Well, as we discussed, abrupt.
It's true. Yeah, it is an abrupt ending. We jump to Kyoko, who gets off of work as Bo the chicken. She still doesn't know if she can help out Ren. She thinks she could guilt him into telling her what's wrong if she were older. So, she's a mentor to him. But she's not. Then she turns the corner and sees Ren sitting there looking super depressed in the same spot he was before when she saw him as Bo the chicken. He just hangs out here. She runs away and is like, yeah, he'll be fine. He has Yashiro to talk to. It'll be fine. Yashiro is not a good person to talk to.
Yeah, not exactly the most helpful.
No. She finally stops and feels bad. She thinks that he wouldn't tell her what's wrong if it's her, but he would tell Bo the chicken so she gets back into the costume. Ren is wallowing in his humiliation for not being able to play the role. He's deep in thought when Bo the chicken comes up to him, and Bo is like, oh, Ren, my old pal, you look down, come commiserate with me. And Ren's like, oh, hey, man. But then he does. But before that, we cut to a masquerade ball that Lori has put on the Dark Moon set. Where they're shooting, he's just hosting this. Lori asks Ogata where Ren is, and Ogata freaks out because he doesn't want to tell him. We return to Bo and Ren. After a while, Ren asks Bo if he's ever been in love, and Kyoko is like, why the hell is he talking to me about his love life? But then she thinks maybe it's related, so I guess we'll just run with it. Bo says that Ren's probably got more experience in love than him, and Ren looks dour. Ren says that it's unnatural for somebody his age to have never been in love. The age of 20. Bo is like, seriously? And Ren is very embarrassed.
Oh, man. It's not
He tells
that.
Bo. It's not that. He's only 20.
I definitely had not been in love when I was 20. I feel like that's pretty normal. It's not like you're having deep relationships in high school.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Ren went to high school. You know? Good. Maybe he didn't. He never learned what love is in his high school romance. He didn't get a high school teen romance, which is why he's stunted.
Maybe.
Maybe that's it.
Me too, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm 30 now and I got nothing going on for me, you know. Cool.
Yeah. Hey, he's pretty popular, so I'm sure you've got girls screaming left and right like him.
Because I'm as popular as Ren Saruga, TV star, actor extraordinaire. Yeah. That's right. I like to think of myself as that. I'm basically him. There's no difference between the two of us. Anyway, he tells Bo that Lori told him he told him that like he can't do this job, and it's all come true. He doesn't know how to play the part because he's never been crazy in love before. Like he has to play a guy who's into this chick, and he can't do it because he's always kept his emotions in control. He spirals and thinks he'll never amount to anything, but is interrupted by Bo stomping all over the place. Bo's like, "Oh, I saw a cockroach," and Ren is like, "What the hell is wrong with you? I'm pouring my heart out here. You're getting distracted by a bug." He gets mad and starts to pull Bo's head. I haven't mentioned this, but Bo's in a chef's costume. So he's like pulling the hat. And Kyoko has to prevent him from taking off the head of the costume, so he ends up tearing the hat off the suit. We jump back to Ogata and Lori. Ogata has told Lori everything because he's a coward. Lori says that he's giving Ren 3 days, and if he's not better by then, you're going to have to fire him. Ogata says that's kind of harsh. And Lori reminds him that he staked his reputation on making the remake better, which he can't do if Ren sucks. This is actually kind of reasonable. Like, if the CEO is like, "What do you mean the main star isn't here? Just fire him." This is the most normal thing Lori has done. Back to Kyoko. They reattach the hat, and Ren finds the whole thing pretty funny. Ren thanks Bo for talking to him. He feels way better now, and Bo's like, "You'll do great, man." And Ren immediately goes back to being dour because he just remembered his life. Ren starts contemplating the nature of love. What does it mean to be in love? Bo says that if, like looking at and, hearing and staring into your partner's eyes makes you happy, then that's kind of love. And Ren's like, "Oh, for real? People feel stuff like that?" Kyoko panics. I know. Kyoko panics and decides to start very small. She asks Ren if he's ever thought somebody was cute before and you wanted to stare at them a little bit. Ren thinks about Kyoko and spaces out. He says, "Yes, what about it?" And Bo tells him that those are the seeds of love as we cut to credits.
Boy. Yeah, so we should just roll into the next episode, maybe.
Okay, I do want to point out we are at the second to last episode of the series, and she is like, "Hey Ren, when you you think someone's cute, you might like them," and he's like, "Oh, really?" My man started this episode downing 2 bottles of scotch. Okay.
Now getting romance.
This is like
advice.
Not even 101. This is like whatever's before 101.
It's intuitive feelings. Like, clearly, yeah. It's bizarre.
It's like, "Hey Ren, you feel stuff when things happen? The phenomena of cause and effect. Are you familiar?" Oh man, he's so cooked. Okay. Skip beat. Last stage. It's last stage. Not final stage. Last stage. Called "And Then the Door Opens." We open on Ren thinking that maybe, possibly, it's kind of possible that he has some seeds of love for Kyoko. A good place to start for the final episode of the series. He tells Bo that he's hesitant to love them because she's in high school. Bo thinks this is perfect because his love interest in the show is also in high school. So he needs to pursue that relationship because it'll parallel nicely for, the method of method acting. Ren then clarifies that the girl he likes, who he has not named, is 16. And Kyoko tells us that that's the legal age to get married and then tells him to go for it as the OP plays. So I guess we solved that problem of that question we had.
I know. She's like all about it for someone else. But if some older dude was trying to be like, "Hey," then she'd be freaking out. She's just like, "Use that girl for your acting," basically.
She's like, I came here to problem solve, not think about consequences.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Japan, you don't have to go to high school. You could get married at 16.
You don't,
sure.
yeah, you don't have to go to high school. That's not compulsory.
Nobody will even
most
ask.
People do. Yeah.
We cut to Yashiro getting Ren from his room. Yashiro's like, hey, man, I know this is tough for you and all with the TV show. And then Ren freaks out because he's been thinking about love and not about the fact that he's going to get fired and leaves. Yashiro wonders if he has anybody he can confide in, because it sure isn't Yashiro. We move to filming of Dark Moon. Kyoko's doing well as Mio, but has to quick change because it's a busy day. She overhears Itsumi, who plays Ren's love interest, say that she's disappointed in Ren for underperforming and says that Kyoko is doing way better than him, which is a surprise. Kyoko freaks out, saying that she doesn't want to hear this, and then runs out of the room. Everybody's confused because Itsumi was complimenting her, but Kyoko collapses on the stairs, saying that none of this would be happening if Ren wasn't in a love funk. She thinks back to her conversation with him and Bo, or him as Bo, and wonders why he's holding his emotions back. Why would he do this? We cut to Ren on a talk show. One of the hosts asks Ren if there's a girl he likes, and Ren hesitates, much to Yashiro's shock. Yashiro gets a phone call from Kyoko, and she asks him for Ren's schedule. Yashiro tries to gauge if Kyoko's into Ren, but he gets nothing. In the final episode of the series, he looks at the schedule and says that he'll only tell her on one condition. We got to Ren driving home. Yashiro told him to go home and prep for his character, but only if he eats something. You gotta promise to eat something, man. Which I assume he just hasn't been doing all day. While driving, Ren is overcome with anxiety for the role, and also he probably hasn't eaten, so he ends up swerving his car. Unfortunately, it was just an empty road, so he just swerves into nothing. But he does come to a complete stop, and to his surprise, Kyoko knocks on his window. She's like, oh, I've seen this car before. I totally didn't just see you swerve in the middle of the road.
We don't acknowledge that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that. We get the eye catch, and when we come back, we learn that Yashiro asked Kyoko to eat dinner with him and then listen to all of his acting problems. Kyoko thinks she's being set up to be bullied, but agrees anyway. Yashiro wonders if it'll all be a disaster or not. We jump to Ren's apartment, where he sets 2 seats at the table. Kyoko thinks he's angry at her, but he plays coy. We learn that Kyoko told Ren that Yashiro asked her to cook food for him, and that's why he's upset. But Kyoko thinks he's mad at her for some reason. They begin eating in silence, so Kyoko turns on the TV. It's a dating show on TV with a couple aged 39, the man, and 20, the woman.
My God.
The whole show is about the 19-year age gap between them, which is pretty funny. Kyoko asks Ren what he thinks about the couple's age gap, and he says more power to them, just real on board with this. Kyoko wonders why that doesn't bother him, but the 4-year age gap between his girl is such a problem. On TV, the guy says that it's a problem when she was in high school, but once she graduated, it was A-okay. No problem. All of my worries gone. Kyoko wonders if it's a similar thing for Ren. The interview continues, and we learn that they were teacher and student. Ren stares at Kyoko for a moment and says that he's realized something he shouldn't.
This is very
like a nightmare
that the show is on. But they do a bunch of weird kind of variety show things in Japan, so it's not that out of the realm of possibility that this would be on.
Now this is normal. I usually turn on the TV and there's a TV show about my exact current problem.
Yeah,
that happens fairly often to me.
Ren's really relatable, so obviously there's
it's just such a normal problem. How could they not talk about it?
Oh my God.
This is crazy. 19 years.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's 1 year younger than my dad. And I'm like, dude, he knew her in high school because he was his teacher. This is the kind of thing that gets you fired.
Yeah.
And put on a list.
Absolutely. I don't understand. High schoolers are so insufferable. Why would you like one?
Oh, man. We're all supportive here. Love is love, says Skippy about the most cursed relationship you could ever hear about. This is a wild turn. I mean, I guess we should just get to the end of the show. But this is a wild I feel like such a fool being like, I think they're going to do something like really interesting with the age gap here. And then it's just like blaring in all bold font. It's cool. Age gaps are great. As soon as she's out of high school, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it feels more subtle in the manga, but it's following the manga exactly. There's been no like deviation from plot. Maybe the exclusion of certain small details.
Yeah. I guess we could talk about it a little bit more after this. I guess let's just keep going. Kyoko tells us that Ren barely talked after that. Ren drives her home and thanks her for making dinner without looking at her. Then he glances at her and nervously gets into his car because he's smitten, I guess. Kyoko tells him that she's looking forward to his performance on the show, and Ren says he'll do his best. Kyoko thinks she might have screwed up the whole night, but she really wants to see all of him. She says that specifically. But she means his acting skills. Ren starts to regret always playing it cool as he holds up traffic by not going at a green light. Later that night, Kyoko thinks about corn and his magic stone. Ren gets a phone call from Lori who tells him that he's out of the show if he doesn't come back on his A game in 2 days. Ren still doesn't think he's got it. Kyoko prays to the magic corn rock and take away Ren's worries. Meanwhile, Ren thinks that maybe he should pursue Kyoko as a shooting star passes through Kyoko's upheld stone. She declares that it's magic. It's the next morning, and Ren greets Yashiro with more enthusiasm. Kyoko wakes up with a good feeling and bikes to work, saying that she's going to meet the new Ren. While riding her bike, she says that she can hear the sound of a beating heart as the credits start to roll. In a credit montage, Kyoko recaps the events of the show while we get shot of all of the characters, except for Moko, but then I later recognize her because she's just talking to some kid. It ends with Ren and Kyoko seeing each other, and that's the end of Skip Beat, the anime.
Yeah, and then tacked on ending scenes where we see all the major players from the season.
Hey, who's this kid Moko's talking to?
Okay.
Who is that?
That is, I didn't remember that when I first watched this. His name is Hio, and he's gonna be he's gonna have a little arc with Moko, and then he'll kind of be in and out like Maria is a bit. But yeah, so you won't get. I don't remember seeing him in the anime, so it was cool to see him animated.
It messed me up because I thought I went through the whole thing and I'm like, dude, did we just skip over Moko? Is she just not in this montage? And then I realized it was because her hair is down. She's in a costume or something.
Yeah.
And she's just talking to this kid. And I'm like, who the hell is this?
So she's not right. She had to turn down show's promo clip because she had got an offer for a TV drama.
Yeah.
And so they're shooting that. So he's in that drama with her.
Yeah, we get a cut to a lot of characters I didn't remember, and when we first saw the director of the commercial, I was like, "Is that Ren in street clothes? What's happening?" But then I had to remember that it's
Ruri, the brat from the tea ceremony arc.
Yeah, we saw Ruri. We saw the rich girl.
Oh yeah.
We saw some guy I didn't recognize at the very beginning.
Oh, the director. Wait, no. Who? Wait, let me think. Oh, he was the director of that tea ceremony one.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Sure. Yeah, sure.
It was weird they start with him and he's not just in the scene.
Well, we start with Sawara, which I thought was good, and then we immediately cut to this guy, and I was like, "Who the hell is this?"
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Obviously the manga doesn't have this sequence, but these characters really don't get brought back up. But this is the end, and they gotta, I mean, it's such a thing with the credits rolling over it.
I like that. I like credit rollings being like, "Hey, remember all these characters you like?" And then a little scene at the end. I actually like that quite a bit. It even has the final a still it's a video game being thanks for playing, but it's a TV show. I also really like that because I like it when video games do that.
They did play the original opening in the background and not the new one.
Yes.
Which is the better opening of this series, I think. But yeah, that's it. I didn't remember it being kind of such a not exciting ending, but
Yeah, I mean, I did like the visual of like the shooting star passing through the stone. That's cool. A little. It kind of doesn't feel like Ren's really resolved his problem totally yet, but I guess it has. I'm gonna pretend like it has because I'm not reading the manga.
Okay, well, you freaking should. I've got the volume that this ends on, which is like just the very beginning of this volume.
Which number? Is it 8?
Volume 12.
12.
And I'm trying to think of it's like chapter 67, basically, is where we leave things.
Yeah, that sounds
volume
about right.
12 out of 50 right now. So a lot else happens in the story past the anime.
Yeah, that makes sense because like we end on the idea of Ren having the idea that maybe he should pursue Kyoko.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's more of he's acknowledging his feelings,
which is much further away. Like I thought the ending of Kimi ni Todoke season 1 was like a gulf where like they're kind of just friends. This is even further away.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we're gonna end any show where the love pair is even further away from each other.
Probably not. I mean, this is let's see. MusicalSarah wasn't about love really, and then
no,
Kimi ni Todoke was all about love. And it kind of takes a backseat in this series at this point in the story, like elements, but nothing like acted upon.
Yeah, like it's brought up a lot and it's like used as like a framing device, like the whole love me section and like this is your biggest flaw or whatever. But like it really doesn't ever come up. It's mostly just about Kyoko doing this job and having a good time becoming an actor, which like is cool, but it's just like the framing is very odd to me.
Yes. So do you want to like ask any unanswered questions and I can answer those?
Okay, is this so? I guess
spoiler alert.
Picking up. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna like don't go into like huge spoilers. You could just like talk about like if this is continued because I might read it if I get the time. No promises, but it's possible.
Oh, it's so good.
So the first time we talked about the age gap, and you're just like, this is just like a roadblock, basically. Is that really all? And like they just treat it as like a reason for them not to get together, and it's never really like they never talk about like actual real world power dynamics or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay, that makes sense. I got the feeling from this episode.
It's not the only roadblock, though, right? It's just the most glaring one. But like, because no one else, it's mostly just Ren viewing it as a roadblock because Kyoko's just totally oblivious to her being the girl in the scenario. But there's other things that kind of come into play, and mostly like what I've said in the past, where like Ren has his own goals he's working towards, and so he doesn't want anything to come in between that because that's like his whole reason for living, and so he kind of fights it in all sorts of ways. But yeah, because there hasn't really, because technically Sho, right, is kind of the implied second lead, but there hasn't really been anything there. A few other characters will come along as like possible rival. Well, not exactly. Like obviously Kyoko's oblivious, so she's not perceiving them as rivals, but like other people who show interest in her, and that is like tool to make Ren act on it more.
So how long do they play that? Because like at this point, and I guess I'm not sure if this happens in the manga, like Moko has clocked that Ren likes her. Yashiro has clearly clocked that Ren likes her. It seems like the time to her.
Yeah,
Ogata. Everybody. It seems like the time to her realizing this should be pretty short based off of the people that are around her. Is this like, do they drag this out forever? Or does she like, it's just like.
Yes. Well, they
do drag it out forever? Because it feels like this arc, she should get an idea that this is happening.
No, I mean, one, she's like closed off to ever even thinking about romance really. So that's her thing, keeping her from or like refusing to acknowledge. But basically, I mean, because there's all these acting based things that happen, and because she still does the more like, oh, I just admire him as an actor for a while, and then it like kind of starts to become more clear, but she's denies, oh, that couldn't be, no way Ren Saruga of all people is going to be into me and this and that. And so it's just a lot of like denial and then like doubt that so like it does start to grow or bloom, but not for a long time. Like there's very small milestones being reached where it's like, because they're still like, they don't talk casually to each other. They don't really hang out outside of work related things. So like kind of just getting on a more normal relationship level first before any romance. But she is young. So like, and as far as we know, it's been about maybe like 7-8 months since the beginning of the show, and we're in volume 12 and there's 50. So like the longer you play it out, the older she gets, and then maybe it becomes okay, I guess, in the author's eyes.
Okay, hold on. Are you saying that they don't get together in like 50 volumes?
I'm not going to say, I don't want to say anything specific.
But like, okay, so here's the thing that happened. Like in other, I guess like romance manga that I've read, right? Which is like, I read Blue Box, which comes out still in Shonen Jump right now. And I read Kaguya Sama, Love is War or whatever, when that was
popular.
When I had a Shonen Jump subscription briefly. In both of those, the way it kind of worked is like they do the, will they, won't they thing for like a while. And then at a certain point they get together, and then the show really, or like the story really becomes about like half them being in a relationship and half all the side characters love story stuff. Does that happen here, or is it like that's not really what's going on?
I mean, it's tough to say because I don't know how much longer the series. Surely we've got to be like 75% done with the story, possibly.
Okay, but that's not what it is right now.
No, but there are like Moko will get, and then new characters that get added, so they have their own little arcs that we get to see.
Okay. Does she ever get put in a bunny suit like the opening implies?
No, she does not get put in a bunny suit ever.
Okay. But yeah, are there other like main characters that we root for? Because I feel like so far it's just Moko and Kyoko.
Well, obviously we see more freaking Show. Are
we supposed to root for Show? Or like, are we supposed to be?
He has like character development, blah blah blah. So that's like an ongoing.
He's not like a heel the whole time. Like he becomes a cool guy.
I mean, he still sucks, right? Because that's who he is. But like,
do we get chapters just about him?
I mean, not really independently. Like only when he's interacting with Kyoko.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. We get like some new characters added that we get a little bit more into. More. I mean, right? Because if she does a new acting project, then there'll be new co-stars to kind of learn about and all that.
Does she become? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say because after Dark Moon goes on for a while, and not that like we're just watching them do scenes of that, just that it's kind of like an ongoing thing in the background for a while. So Kyoko, obviously, this is a show that's going to be big, and so she gets like a lot of exposure for that, and then she starts getting a lot of job offers, but they're all like villainous offers, and she's like, I don't want to.
Oh hell yeah!
A character, type
character actor.
Yeah. Like, I want to experience all sorts of different roles, blah blah blah. So like that's the thing she kind of has to deal with, yeah. And then and kind of learning how to like, it's not like all of the characters are the same. Each of them have their own little nuances, so it's not like she's exactly playing the same. But like, yeah, she's like, why can't I be a princess or something?
So at this point in the manga, would you say this is more a story about somebody getting into acting, or is this more a love story where the characters just happen to be in acting?
No, it's 100% like acting first. Because like the acting, it's like career improvement, but it's also like self-discovery kind of for Kyoko. And with more of that, then that affects her like life outside of acting. So she'll kind of like learn from her roles. And but yeah, I would definitely say it's like, or at least for a long time, it's mostly about the acting. Kind of trying to open up her heart, like what the Love Me section is supposed to be about. And there, like slow improvements with the romance stuff, but it's not like acting's taking the backseat to that by any means.
Okay, because I feel like overall, like all of the like learning how to like do the acting stuff and like how to overcome the different things, like for the commercial stuff, that has landed with me really well. And I feel like all of the stuff where they talk about love just falls flat for me so far. Like that's my takeaway of this show is like, yeah, it's a cool show about acting where like love is just kind of here sometimes. And I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah. Because it's a show of like a bajillion mini arcs. Because there's like either side jobs or we have the like personal life little arc, like where she goes in these episodes or when she takes care of him as a manager, stuff like that. So it's like a lot of variety in what we're seeing from volume to volume. But like they all are like well thought out and detailed. So
yeah, so it just kind of carries on. Like with this format.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely like it's a funny anime, but a lot of the author, as I've said in the past, just like if you read the manga, you really get so much more out of it. It's a lot funnier, and everyone looks better because, like, I think this happened with Fruits Basket too, where the very first volume, like, they're kind of still refining their art style. So, like, by further into the series, their art looks a lot different. Like it has improved, and that's definitely the case with this. So when I first read this, I was like, what the hell? Like, why is the boy's face is so pointy and why is everyone so long? But like I feel like it gets a lot better, like looking further in. And yeah, I don't know. It's my favorite manga. So I think, well, if you do come down and visit for a few days, maybe Jenny, you and me can just go through my manga library and you can power read Skip Beat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's all my questions.
Okay, cool. Then in that case, let's move on to kind of ranking, which we've done at the end of our series up to this point, and then kind of comparing to those other series as well. So I'll pull up my question. So Ooh. I'm going to say, okay, so for Skip Beat specifically. Oh, okay. I thought you dropped from the call. It was just, okay. Sorry. Favorite character of Skip Beat. I think it's pretty.
This is so easy. This is the easiest it's ever been.
Yeah. Kyoko.
Yeah.
She rules. She's just very entertaining. A very distinct protagonist, because Misaki is like the best example of what a lot of shoujo, or at least the manga that never get turned into anime, is where it's like, oh, it's just a vaguely nice girl that happens to have people interested in her, even though she isn't maybe necessarily that interesting. She's just the vehicle for everyone to get to experience all these pretty boys. Mm-hmm. But like Sawako and Kyoko both had very like distinct personalities and problems to work through. I think Kyoko is like the most interesting protagonist we've had up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're all like similar in terms of like they're all very like genuine and authentic. I think the thing that works for Kyoko is that like the way her humor works is that she's just like a goofy little weirdo in like a charming way, whereas like Sawako is also kind of a goofy little weirdo, but in a much more of like like a misunderstood way. So it's like very fun to watch Kyoko just like be weird and see people react to that. It's like very charming.
For sure. And opposite of that, what's your least favorite character?
From all of them?
Show? No, for
from Skip Beat. Okay, yeah.
President.
I don't like I mean, Show's obviously the bad guy, so you're not supposed to like him. But it's like, not only do I not like him, I don't like the stuff surrounding him. I don't like him coming on to his manager and his manager being like a little not into it, but like, totally fine with it. The whole thing is just kind of gross.
Yes.
So and like Asami doesn't say anything either. It's gross. Yeah, I don't like him. But beyond the like he's, you know, obviously the villain, it's also just like, it's kind of like the way they treat him is not great.
I mean, at least him being sucky makes it more fun to watch Kyoko just absolutely despise him and root for her revenge plot.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. How about last one for Skip Beat specifically, and then we'll move on to just all of them. What was your favorite like arc within the series? Like, because there's a lot of like mini ones.
I think the commercial tryout's probably the best one, because I think that has like the most really interesting good like solution, and also just like the dynamic between Kyoko and Moko, I feel like pays off the most. Like that's the relationship that has the most payoff in like the whole series. I feel like, so I end up liking that quite a bit.
Yeah, I that one's really good, because we get to know more about Moko and their fun dynamic, and then like. It's funny because it's like, you know, the part where all the other girls are like desperate to get this role and like, I want to be a star. And they're like, oh my God, now I understand why I'm in the Love Me section. Like, it's fun that they both, are kind of experience the same.
So wait,
come
I
to
have
the
a
same
question
conclusion
then.
with different experience. Yeah.
So what's your top three? Because I thought maybe we'd do this. So I was thinking of like, 1 and 2 is pretty easy. I don't know who I'm picking for 3. 3 is hard.
Okay, so 1, Kyoko, 2, Moko, and number 3.
What's number 3? I feel like there's like a huge drop off at that point.
Yeah. I like Maria.
I was just thinking that. Like in terms of like characters I wish got more screen time, Maria's probably up there.
Yeah. She's fun because she's just like a little goth girl, but cute and rich.
Yeah. Guess that's it.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I don't like dislike Ren, but it's just like he gives nothing. You know what I mean? Like
Robot Man.
I don't feel like his interactions are productive, and he's not that funny.
No, his moments are funnier because Kyoko's interacting with him.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Are we doing show comparisons now?
Yes. So first off, which series has your favorite opening intro?
Like the song?
Yeah, well, just the song and
the whole opening?
Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch some of them. The Skippy ones did not stick with me.
No. I mean, I think Angelic Layer visually has the most interesting, but I don't really like the song. And then I like the songs for Kimi ni Todoke, but it's pretty like static imagery.
Yeah, I don't like the animation for the opening.
Especially the latest one for the 3rd season one for Kimi ni Todoke. Nah.
Yeah, I like the Angelic Layer opening. I'm watching it now. It's the most like dynamic.
Yes, yeah.
The song's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we keep a track of this? Should we have like a spreadsheet?
Oh, of our rankings?
Yeah. We should set that up. Not right now, but we'll do that.
Yes. Okay. Who's the best main character, which we kind of covered.
We already did that. Yep.
We could rank them. Number 1, Kyoko.
Oh, yeah,
number 2, Sawako. Number 3, Misaki.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Best couple. Favorite couple from any of the shows. Probably, was it like Ryu and Chizu?
Yeah, did we rank that at the top? I guess
or do you like Ogata and that random chick?
No, I'm okay with Ogata and Shuko. Or Ogata. Wait, is that who he was with? No, Ogata was with what's her face? The like other
Asami? Wait, no. Oh, I forgot. Okay, because we have an Ogata in this.
You have Ogata in this, who's the director. Ogata, the other one is the goofy screw up coworker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I guess
this
because Sawako
Ren and Kyoko barely count because it's like you get a gesture at a hint at the end of the show, so they're like last because it just didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I guess
and there's no other romance in Skippy in the show up to this point.
Oh no! Oh, what about the age gap couple on the TV show?
Oh, they're last. They're even more last. I guess. Okay. I guess Chizu and Ryu are number one. Then, huh?
Yeah. I don't even. Well, yes. There's this.
And then like Sawako. Was there any other relationships? Is it just the three? Is Sawako and Kazehaya?
Goddamn.
What, Kent and?
Yes.
Are you putting that above?
Like that one.
Are you putting that above the angelic layer ones? Because the angelic layer, it's like what? It's Kotaro and Tomoyo. That one,
whatever.
I didn't love, but also it feels like they're little kids.
What about Ichan and Misaki Sakimon?
Ichan and Shuko. Ichan and Shuko is better. Is it better than Kent and what's her name? The character we like.
It's escaping my name too.
What's her face?
Fuck.
The one we wanted to be a lesbian.
It's
Ayane.
Ayane. Yeah.
Kent and Ayane. Man, I do not like Kent and Ayane that much. I'm putting Shuko and God, what was his name? I'm forgetting Ichan above. I'm putting Shuko and Ichan above Ayane and Kent.
But it's like I'm sorry, Ayane and not Kent. But then I really don't like Shuko. So
I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? I forgot about the power couple in Kimi or in Angelic Layer. The shoot, what are the names? The actual married couple.
Married couple.
Yeah. And the guy who has to. No. In Angelic Layer.
Oh.
Like the guy who had
yeah.
What is her name?
Igata? No. The guy who got forced to play the like new doll.
Yeah.
Or
his wife is Shuko second. I like them a lot.
Yeah, they rule. Yeah, they were good.
They get number 3. They can be they can be below.
Can't remember their names, but
yeah, I'll try to look it up. They definitely score higher, and then I'll put Ichan and Shuko, and then I'll put Ayane and Kent.
It was like,
and then I guess I'll put.
We didn't get very much of them, but what we did see was good.
And then I'll do Kotaro and.
Oh, Kotaro's boring.
He is boring, and they have a.
Oh no! I want to put imaginary coupling Kurumi and Ayane. There.
If we're doing imaginary coupling, new number 1 is Sai and Kaede.
Oh yeah.
We use spreadsheets so we can keep track of it.
Yes, I know. No girls love.
The girls love is better.
The best possibilities. Yeah. Too bad. Okay. Okay, let's do best.
Yeah, but the Angelic, the Skippy ranks last on that.
Yeah. Best
the
school
one relationship
uniform.
Best school uniform. There were 2 in Kimi ni Todoke, right?
Just at one high school.
But they had like the summer and winter.
Yeah, yes. And yeah, that's the only one we've seen, I guess. Yeah. Because like I would say their winter would be number 1 for me because I really like the color. Pretty straightforward, but and then Kyoko's is so unremarkable.
I hate hers.
But like Angelic Layers is so weird.
I like that one. I like it being weirder. I'm going with Kimi ni Todoke winter, Angelic Layer, Kimi ni Todoke summer, and then Skip Beat.
Yeah. Okay. And then last one I had was which series had the best finale? like ending note. Skippy number 3.
Which season of Kimi ni Todoke are we talking about here? Because they vary wildly.
That's true. Okay, we can do each.
No,
okay.
no. We can just do
number
the last one.
Okay, I was like, but this looks so bad.
We'll do the last one of each.
Frick.
I mean, this is easy for me.
I'm gonna say Angelic Layer number 1, probably just because like it was good. Everything addressed.
I mean, it's kind of unfair because like that is clearly the end, the designed end of a show, whereas the other ones kept being like, well, it could end here or we could keep going, right? Like clearly there was more in the other ones.
I guess Kimi ni Todoke 2.
Yeah,
because at least some of the seasons ended on a high, even if it was like a low until the end of the season. But
yeah, I mean, they did clearly attempt to be like, this could be the end because now all the girls are in relationships and we're happy about it. Yay.
Yeah.
And then Skippy, which is just like, what if we said the problem is solved and cut to credits?
Yeah,
which is awesome. I think we should have another list.
Okay, another
for best side character.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like this is the most strongest contenders, right? Because like the best side character in Angelic Later is Hitoko for sure.
Yes.
The best side character in Kimi ni Todoke is probably
Ayane
and Kurumi, and then the best in Skippy is, I guess, Moko. Yeah. So out of these,
okay, I'm gonna say number 1 is Ayane, and number 2 is Tomoyo. Then number 3, Kurumi. No, Moko, and then the next one, Kurumi. Tomoyo, number 1 for you.
Hitoko, you mean? I don't think Tomoyo's ever
shit.
Good. I mean, Tomoyo's also fun.
Hitoko.
I guess I can throw her in there too. I think Hitoko's going to be number 1. There's something funny about like a sassy kindergartner that I really like.
Yes.
I think it's really goofy. She's into movies. We know this about her.
We don't know that about her. You made that fact.
She has a doll that's like a ninja. It's cool.
Yes, yeah.
I'm putting Hitoko
Suzuka
1. Number 2, I guess Ayane. She kind of took a hit in season 3.
Yes, I know that sucks. But she's so awesome.
Kurumi wasn't in season 3.
Nope.
And I don't remember what I ranked before.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll do Ayane and then Kurumi and then probably Shizu and then Moko.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't get to learn very much about Moko and Skippy.
Yeah.
I know because she has what you saw with that Hio kid. That's like a whole arc where we learn more about her life outside of acting up to this point. And then, I don't know. She's fun because she's kind of like angry, like Kyoko, but in a different way.
She's also a hater. We love that.
Yes. So
she didn't get enough screen time. I mean, I guess my biggest complaint about Skippy is that like you jump around arc per arc so much and like not a lot of characters carry over, so you don't get enough screen time with the characters that you like.
Yeah. I mean, like we get her giving or answering the call from Kyoko during the promo clip, and when she thinks that like it becomes more clear, or we get more of it, but like she's very much like number 1 in Kyoko's heart. Like, she absolutely adores Moko. So like Moko is in a very like advisory role in a lot of things, but we do get to see her grow as an actress as well. So Skippy's the most like it just should have gone longer. Clearly. Worst planned ending.
Yeah.
So
abrupt.
like but it was very enjoyable like through most of it.
I mean, I would definitely like watch a season 2. It's not like I thought this was a good stopping point or like I was satisfied with it. You know, I think that's I think that's good. I think it probably is smart that it's more about acting as a career and not so much the love story, because the love story, as it was like it was not working for me particularly. Like, you know, age gap aside, Ren's just not that interesting. Like the like for the first time in this episode, it did make sense to me. The like, oh, you're supposed to be like yearning, right? Like he's supposed to be yearning for somebody he can't have. And I do get the appeal of that. But like, that's just so not him that I just don't think it would end up being satisfying, right? Like, I feel like there's just so much buildup that would have to happen that it would just get exhausting before I am like on board with it. You know what I mean?
Well, he also is in the situation in which the girl he likes is like closed her heart and like has been betrayed.
Yeah, but we didn't get to
like,
engage
that's
with
a lot
that
of
part.
work to get. Yeah, but that like explains a lot of why it like takes so long for anything to happen between them, because she's very much going to be fighting it or in denial or just not seeing it. So it's gonna be kind of like with where we're like, poor Kazehaya, like it's so clear he likes Sawako and she doesn't see it. So that's kind of
it's the season 2 problem, but like for longer. I mean, I guess they break it up with a bunch of other stuff because it's not really about that, which I think is smart. But like, not particularly working for me. In this
has been going on for a long time too. So like, who knows what like from when this series first started, what the author had in mind to. I mean, now coming out.
Is it going to be a good climax? Like, does he feel like it's building up to them being together, being like a good climax? Or is like the climax going to be something else? Because I'm still pulling for her becoming the new Lori, just becoming the president of the company. Just hostile takeover. I want them to do the Mad Men thing where like they start their own firm. You know what I'm saying?
No, that does not happen.
That would be great.
She is 16. And no, she doesn't have business minded. But like we get to know, like we meet her mom and
we didn't even talk about that. That's like a huge thing, right?
Yeah,
I completely forgot about it.
Yes. So we learn more about that dynamic between them. We learn about her mom, why her mom treats her like that. We even learn a bit about her dad. So like, stuff like that.
We acknowledge the father.
Yes, I know that doesn't happen very much. Certainly not. I mean, we get a dad in Kimi ni Todoke, but not a word of it in Angelic Layer.
Yeah.
But overall, good show. And Ren's background, and so read the manga. It's so good. It's my favorite manga ever. But okay, we're done with Skippy now, and we're gonna reveal what our next series is gonna be. And that is probably one of my favorite animes, which is Chihaya Furu, which is kind of it's kind of similar to Skippy, where it like has a thing other than romance is the focus, and romance is like peppered throughout. But it's kind of like a sports anime almost, about this like traditional Japanese card game that's memory and like speed based. So it's like really exciting to watch all the matches, and then like the art's really pretty, and it's just like, I don't know, sports anime, like I'm not into that sports, but if there's a good one where it's like, I love volleyball now, and I didn't give a rat's ass about it until I watched Haikyuu and things like that. So much so that I bought a copy of like an English translated card deck that I now force people to play with me, that no one wants to play with me because it's like a lot to memorize. But Chihaya Furu is what we're going to be getting into next, and we'll see how season 1 goes. And
so the way we're going to watch this, because it is 3 seasons and 76 episodes plus it looks like some movies, OVAs, is that we're going to watch the first season first, and then we may watch something else in between, or we're going to see how we're feeling before we kind of roll into it. So it's not going to be like the next year is going to be just Chihaya Furu.
Yes. Yeah, because there's 3 seasons.
Where can people watch this?
It's on Crunchyroll. And
yep, I think that's it, right? When we looked.
Yeah, probably. But so it's so freaking good, man. I gotta get into the manga, but I don't think I've ever seen it sold here. But so look forward to that. You can go ahead and watch I think we're doing 2 episodes because it's more action based, so that'll take kind of longer to talk through. So we'll do it like Angelic Layer.
Yeah, we'll start with 2 episodes. We'll see how we're feeling. If it's easy to summarize, then we'll do 3. If it's not easy to summarize, we will do 2. That's kind of how we gauge this. Yeah.
So watch episodes 1 and 2, Chihaya Furu, to watch along with our coverage of it. What's our takeaways? What's our Full House lessons learned moment this episode?
Well, the lesson learned is that you should rate and subscribe to our podcast.
Oh, fuck.
I assume you're subscribed. You should rate the podcast at 5 stars. Out of 5 stars on your podcast platform of choice. You should leave a comment so that people know that you really enjoyed the show. Maybe you enjoyed our coverage of Skip Beat. Maybe you didn't. In which case, you should still give us 5 stars and then just leave a comment being like, could have been better. Actually, don't say that in the review. Send us an email at shoujopod@gmail.com if you have criticisms. Only post nice things on the public socials when you interact with us, please. So please do that. It does help us out. It's also good if you talk about us to your friends, recommend us to other people. This is the best way to, word of mouth is the best way to spread things. We just finished this show, so if you've been looking to get somebody into Skip Beat, we now have a completed sequence of episodes. They can watch it at their leisure. We have also are about to start a new show, which is a great time to jump on. You can watch it week to week. It's like a really nice way to spread out watching stuff so you don't get stuck in a binging hole where you just watch a bunch of episodes of a thing and then forget about it a week later. So please join us for that and let other people know who you think might be interested that we are doing this so we can gain and expand our listenership.
Yep. Also, I guess because we still have to do recommendations. I don't know.
Recommendations.
I just jumped the gun.
Recommending anything I recommend, just cutting the podcast off. We're done. No.
Maybe it's because daylight saving. I'm like, it's so late now, but
dark.
It's all like 6:46.
Yeah, like you said, we're like, we're gonna record at 5:30, and I'm like, oh, cool, 5:30, and I got on, and I'm like, oh wait, this is 5:30 my time, and then it turned into 6, and it's dark out, and I'm like, dude, it's gonna be like the midnight hour when we're recording this.
Persona reference. Okay, recommendations. So I'm starting to think maybe. Should we be like, I should only recommend something someone can actually experience now? Because my recommendation,
I think it's funny.
Okay,
I recommend something impossible. I recommend being in my high school graduating class.
What a place to be.
I'm kidding. I don't actually recommend that.
No. Okay, my recommendation is a game that came out on the GameCube in 2006 called Chibi Robo. And I've never met anyone else who's played that game, but it's kind of like you play as this tiny little robot, because this is a world where robots are kind of as to do household chores and assist the household. So Chibi, which is small, cute. What's the actual translation of Chibi? Is it just cute? Or no, it's not cute. It's small
something. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And then Robo for robot. So you're a little robot, and it's cute because you have your little cable, your plug-in that you gotta carry around with you. It's attached to you, so then you charge up in outlets and stuff. But kind of doing things. You're little, so the house is huge, so that's kind of the environment. And there's a mom, dad, and daughter that kind of you can interact with, and there's different puzzles, different areas. There's even a big robot that used to help but shut down, so you can fix him up. And then you have Giga Robo, and it's just very cute and kind of cozy and laid back, but with clear objectives. And I just remember it so fondly. Whenever, because we're not at the point where GameCube games are on the Nintendo Online thing yet, but maybe once that's the case, then I can replay it, hopefully. And apparently there's a sequel on the DS, which I haven't played, called like Chibi Robo Ziplash or something, which I haven't played, so I can't attest to what that looks like. But Chibi Robo, good luck finding it. Good luck playing it. But that's my recommendation this week. How about you, Joe?
I'm going to recommend something different than normally.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to recommend this is like a music album playlist that I listen to on Spotify. This is called Epic the Musical, which apparently is a musical adaptation of the Odyssey, right? So like the classical literature thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the concepts of the musical. And so what is being done is that they're recording the music that could be adapted into a bunch of different songs that kind of go through the entire Odyssey, which is pretty fascinating. So one of my friends put me onto this, and I listened to it with them. It's pretty fun. I think it's like a nice way to go through the Odyssey. It helps if you're familiar with it. I think you could just read the Wikipedia summary, to kind of like figure out what's going on. It's pretty interesting. It's like an interesting thing to do. Apparently, the person who's doing this. So this is done by looks like Jorge Rivera Haranes, I'm probably saying that wrong, has been documenting this on TikTok, like developing the musical, unsure to the status of that, or if this will actually get adapted, or I'm not really sure how this works. I kind of just learned about this pretty recently. But that being said, the album is fairly long. It's like 35 songs of, I guess that's 7 little snippet albums that have like 5 songs each. It's pretty interesting to see the takes on Homer's Odyssey. I just think this was like a fun thing to go through. So if you have any interest in that, you can search for Epic the Musical and you'll get like a playlist that has them all in order. You do need to listen to them in order because it is, a sequential story. So if you just have time to do that, it's like a fun thing to do. I just thought this was very charming. So Epic the Musical. Interesting stuff going on. Stuff going on TikTok
nice.
That I don't know because I'm not on that app.
It's for the best.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of recommendations, I did because I had recommended a podcast, I think, recently, and so I just DM'd the Instagram of them saying like, "Oh, hey, I know like minimal probably listener crossover between shoujo anime and like celebrity coverage, but." I was like, I recommended you on our podcast. And then she was like, oh my God, that's awesome. I should check out shoujo. So I was like, oh, we're actually covering a series kind of about showbiz. So we should start there. So maybe she won't listen, but I was like, that was fun. Acknowledgement.
Networking. It's more than I'm doing. I'm not doing any networking.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's our episode. Skip Beat finale, and I'm freaking stoked to rewatch Chihaya Furu. Maybe I don't know. I feel like we got excited watching Angelic Layer, and I think we'll get that same kind of energy of like, yeah, that was awesome.
The hype.
Like Japanese poem game, yeah. Not expected thing to get excited about, but I promise you, it's awesome.
We'll feel the hype.
Yes. And one of the voice actors we covered for Skip Beat was a main character in that series. So we'll hear from someone again. I don't remember who it was, some dude, but yeah. So till next time, everyone, be a good person. Be kind to others.
If you're in your mid to late 30s, don't date a high schooler. It doesn't matter if they just got out of high school. I still think you should really consider your life choices and what you're doing, and then maybe decide not to date somebody who just got out of high school. I don't know. Maybe there are better options. Maybe you should try speed dating or something. Maybe you should look around you and think about your life and ask yourself if you really should be dating a high school
when you're
in your late 30s and they are below the age of 21.
Yeah, please.
just throwing that out
there. Anime crazy romantic dynamics ends here.
If it's a 4-year age gap, it's a little different. If it's 19 years, man, You know, I'm really
Look
hoping
forward
they're
to
out
our-
of high school.
Yes, look forward to our bonus episode about incest and anime.
We're not doing that. You cannot. There's nothing you can do to make
Title
me
it that, yeah.
talk about bad tropes. Ugh. Yeah, so far it's been our worst. It's probably been our worst trope.
Yeah, we'll start.
We'll get worse tropes. I'm
some more
for sure.
I was gonna
Listen,
say.
I've seen anime. I know we're gonna get some worse stuff than this.
Yeah, well, I think we'll do a bonus episode on a series about a girl whose mom gets remarried and her stepdad has 13 sons that she now lives with, and it's based off a dating sim. So we'll do a bonus episode on that. So that'll be fun to cover.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to record some of these bonus episodes. We're still working out the schedule. We have a lot of ideas.
Yep.
So
just gotta get around to it.
We'll be figuring that out.
Once Fail Guard is finished, accomplished once at least, which I'll be going to play that immediately after we finish here.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening, and we'll see you, or I always say, oh, we'll see you next week. I guess I don't need to correct myself by saying like, we'll talk to you next week, but you'll see us in your feed next week.
You'll have the opportunity to listen to us next week.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.